Let's talk about the unsexy part of creative production. I'm talking about the process of creativity, not the whole cleanup part afterwards. Although some say chaos breeds creativity, consistent creativity actually comes from having a structure, clear goals, and a kick-ass toolkit. And when you're doing design at scale, whether as a busy marketing department or a creative team servicing a larger organization, things can get hectic pretty fast. So how do you stay on track, let alone scale up what you're doing without burning out your entire design team? Most creative people are better at creating than they are at managing time, mapping out plans, or streamlining workflows. And that's why DesignOps exists and why it's so effective. If you want to know a little bit more about DesignOps or design operations, we literally wrote a guide on it. Go to the link in the description to check that out. We also have a video on DesignOps 101 that explains everything you needed to know. That video is also in the link in the description. But basically, people in DesignOps roles work to remove all the roadblocks affecting creative production. The goal of this video is to help your team deliver high-quality design at scale by leveraging some key design operations tactics. So let's look at the 5 creative production rituals that you can bring to your own team. Number 1, map it out. Before digging into any creative project, particularly those big cross-functional ones, you gotta set clear benchmarks to measure your team's progress and productivity. Think of them like a North Star, something that everyone will be working towards. I recommend identifying a few key metrics and clearly outlining them from the very start. For example, if you're producing a new set of ads for social media, what sort of results are you looking for? Are you looking for a certain number of clicks, or do you want your crush to see the ad with a special note asking them to go to prom with you? Asking this will help guide the creative output. So once your goals are defined with metrics, create a work plan or a creative brief. Ideally, model your work plan based on successful projects in the past. That way you're baking in existing processes with your team, which they should know and should make it easier to follow. If you want to learn how to create a kick-ass creative brief, check out the video we made on how to create a proper design brief. Number 2, foster conscious, deliberate communication. We all know how to talk. Heck, sometimes we even listen. But clear communication, especially in big groups, can be challenging, especially without clear guardrails for how, when, and why that communication should take place. So be deliberate about your team's communication. Create project-specific channels in Slack or Microsoft Teams if you're into that sort of thing, and make sure you formalize that communication channel. You could even implement weekly stand-ups and check-ins and start every project with a kickoff meeting and invite everyone who'll be involved with the project. That kickoff meeting should cover the benchmarks, metrics, and timelines from Ritual 1 when you mapped everything out. But also leave time to discuss communication on protocols. Make sure your team knows what channels to use for what. Like, is it okay to send a DM over Slack if something's quick, or should all the notes be in your project management tool? Set these rules early on. Clear lines of communication are the lifeblood of a successful team. And remember, communication shouldn't end when the project does. Hold a wrap-up meeting or a project debrief after the project ends to chat about what went well, what didn't, and identify any areas of improvement for next time. Number 3, streamline the review and approval process. Raise your hand if you've ever wound up with 10 versions of the same project on your desktop. Great creative projects require many iterations and multiple rounds of review and approvals. Without a clear, streamlined process in place for who approves what and when, you're just creating chaos. Whether reviewers are clients or colleagues, the first step is to identify what might be causing roadblocks and bottlenecks. Then take the steps to remove them. Centralize all communication surrounding reviews and approvals to make sure that everyone involved can see exactly where a given item is in the process. Kanban boards work great for this. Also, train your clients or colleagues on what good feedback looks like. You could even make them watch our video on how to give actionable design feedback. Seriously, if you haven't seen it, you should. And then make everyone else watch it. And while you're there, you should subscribe and like it. In fact, you should like this video too. Just saying. Number 4, build metrics into your project foundation. Let's talk about metrics. Tracking and analyzing outcomes are foundational to your project's success. Measure yourself against them and optimize towards your goals at the start. You need a bullseye to aim for. Doing this means that your whole team will be constantly learning, testing, and applying knowledge to create more insights on future work. It also helps to remove any subjective bias if everyone is following the same metrics dashboard. It's hard to deny numbers that are staring you directly into your soul. Number 5, organize a process toolkit and keep it updated. Technologies are constantly evolving to deliver better ways of working. Google Docs, Notion, Trello, Git, Zendesk, and Monday.com are making it so much easier to hit deadlines. And it makes sense, because in order to scale, you need to have a set of tools behind you that will support your streamlining efforts. By organizing a toolkit and ensuring that everyone is trained on the tools, you give your team less to worry about in managing individual processes and create better transparency across the life of a project. Your creative production toolkit can also include a dedicated creative team from outside of your company to support these projects. And this is exactly what Superside does. We give you the best-in-class digital tools for managing your design projects, and we connect that process to a dedicated design team to fulfill that work, on brief and on time. Whatever your current toolkit is, just don't set it and forget it. Tools should be regularly gauged to determine if they still work for where you're at in the scaling process. Whatever tools you end up choosing, it's just important to create the right process for everyone to follow. So there are the 5 rituals that you can use to scale your creative production. And look, managing creative teams can be tricky. There's lots of balls in the air and lots of people to keep in the loop. So at Superside, we've simplified the process of scaling your creative production. When you sign up with Superside, you get a dedicated account manager to bridge the gap between you and a full dedicated design team. This gives you a central point of contact for all your creative needs. Superside has helped over 400 companies as large as Shopify, Amazon, and Puma unblock design execution by plugging them into a global dedicated design team with technology that makes briefing and managing projects super easy. Superside has a proven DesignOps process that holds up against surprise 12-hour turnarounds and big campaigns that require full-stack, dedicated design skills. If you want to take your DesignOps to the next level, go to the link in the description or head over to superside.com to learn more. And be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos on how you can scale your design and be a more effective design leader.